Today at the Gamers for Life podcast, we're going to talk about the Halo Co-op campaign finally going to be showing up here. Talking about some new information regarding to Fallout London, especially with the new news of the former Deus Ex writer joining BioWare and joining the Mass Effect project, all coming up here at the Gamers for Life podcast. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Gamers for Life podcast, where each and every Friday/Saturday we're discussing all things games.
Last one's still my favorite.
I know, it's classic. I'm your host, Jerrell. With me is my co-host, Arthur Thomas. What's going on?
That's me, nothing much. I got more than 5 hours of sleep today, so
Nice.
I'll take it.
Okay. Let's get that mental health in there. And then also we have my man Church joining us back here for another episode. What's going on, my guy?
I'm doing good, man. It feels good to be back again so
Nice.
soon. So
Nice.
I'm ready.
Awesome. Glad to have you here in the studio. And then, of course, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, hello, be sure to like and subscribe here on the channel so you can be updated on the episodes when they come out, especially when you click that notification bell. If you want to check out Arthur's streams, since he is the go-to guy for that, more of a reason to like and subscribe since he manages that. And then if you want to check out anything else regarding the Gamers for Life when it comes to the audio episodes, because we have those there, or we have those in general, you can go to linktree.com/gamers for life. That is the one-stop link to all of the streams, or whether audio or video. And here at the Gamers for Life, we read the news while you can listen to what you choose by clicking on the links of the time code within the description of the episode. Within the episode, or you can just hang out with us here at the Gamers for Life podcast. After that makes noise.
Sorry.
I was just watching you. I was like,
Sorry.
yo.
My headphones aren't working.
Okay. So here at the Gamers for Life podcast, we read the news while you can listen to what you choose by clicking the links in the time code within the description of the episode. So you can do that, or if you just want to listen to the whole thing, you can do that. Hang out with us here at the Gamers for Life podcast, and a lot of news, strangely, kind of crept around.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So it's surprisingly a lot so soon after, like, I guess, quote unquote, the E3. Like, I didn't expect to have this kind of wave coming in so soon.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have, like, some of the stuff we're talking about. I definitely thought at least some of the stuff we're going to talk about would have either A, happened at E3, or B, like, way closer to holiday season.
Yeah.
Also, against, sorry, my thing, because I was like, you're like, oh, it makes noise. I didn't know. My headphones weren't working. That's why I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm just like, anything you do may or may pick up.
Sorry, it's when I leaned back. I leaned back and I just realized, like, oh wait, just realized, my headphones are doing the thing where you have to like do the radio tuner for the cord to fit right.
Yeah.
So, my bad.
No worries. It's all right, man. You're still a veteran here, you're still a professional, so no worries there. So I was going to say, just to rip the Band-Aid off originally, I know the Overwatch beta is going around, or some people are able to play it. I know you said, unfortunately, you haven't had the chance to check it out just yet. Playing to, kind of, sort of.
No, I haven't had a chance to play it, but I've been watching it, so
Yeah.
I'm into Overwatch League, which has been playing Overwatch 2 for a while, just checking out, like, the skins available, new gameplay tactics, what's got enough and what hasn't. So it's been fun just to, like, consume that content because I just love Overwatch. So
Nice.
Yeah, their next the next wave of the quote unquote open beta, which quick soapbox. Don't call it an open beta if it's not. Like it's not an open. It's like not an open beta. If you have to buy something, that doesn't make it open. An open beta is just like here's a beta.
Well, no, you can sign up for the beta.
No, they close it, so it's in waves.
Yeah.
So the beta right now, you can't sign up for it. The next window is July 14th. So the beta is pretty much a month long, June 28th to July 28th.
Yeah.
And so people who signed up for it prior to June 28th were able to get in. And or if you did the pre-order thing, which I don't advise because I'm just definitely on team don't fucking pre-order anything at this point. But then July 14th is when they're going to reopen for the applications stuff again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, because Ivan, on last week, we're talking about it now. I told him, like, just wait. Like, just wait till I think I was like hinting at you too, Church. I was like, look, the beta's gonna have another open phase coming soon, Play that before, if at all, pre-order it via the $40 thing. Because, like I said, I've just been, like I said, just with this past, especially this past year, arguably two, of AAA games just letting us down. I'm not saying the game's not gonna. I'm not saying I want the game to be bad. Just wait for day one. Just
because that was my initial thing, right? I was thinking like, oh, should we do the $40? And then I heard it was going to be, it was going to be free to play. It was going to be free to play, right? So I was like, oh well, I'll just wait till the game comes out.
Yeah,
I thought about buying it too, and I looked at what you got in the bundle, which is the guaranteed access to the beta, right? And then like you get the 2,000 credits, and there was like a Reddit page where like the designer of the game told you what you can get with that money, which is equivalent to 2 seasons of Battle Pass. So $10 each seems about to be right. But there was like 5 legendary skins that came with it. I don't even know what those skins look like. So like, why would I pre-order something that I don't know what value I'm getting out of that bundle ahead of time? So
because it's not showing you like, here's the skins you're getting. You're just like, no, just you're getting legend, because you get 5 random legendaries and then 2 given legendaries.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, it's like, what does it look like? I don't know. Yeah. So again, but
like
again,
if you don't play Baptiste, do you want that legendary skin? Like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like you say, if you don't play those characters, you're not gonna benefit from that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the game's free to play. The game's free to play. So like this particular quote unquote transaction, I'm not against, because the game's free to play. It's your choice. And unlike loot boxes, they're telling you what you get. They're being upfront. You get X credits, X random cosmetics, and X given cosmetics. But again, my thing just in general is like, as Jerrell well knows, like I'm definitely on team. I don't pre-order anything anymore, pretty much.
Dang.
Just I've been burned too many times.
I had to switch jerseys to your team too after like Battlefield 2042.
Oh man,
I got that pre-order. I got the special bundle.
You didn't listen to me. I called it since day one. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I feel bad for you too, because like you just genuinely were excited to play the game just like anybody else.
Yeah,
I was excited.
And then
to play
they just fucked.
EA,
I had the whole squad too.
Dude, EA pulled an EA. Like how many times? Like we'll go, and then we'll be talking about them later, bro.
Yeah.
Quick. I know they'll start with Overwatch too, but it's like, again, like how many times do companies have to have the same fucking apology for the same fucking mistakes? So like I've been burned too many times. So again, to a point with this Overwatch beta and the $40 edition thingy, it's just on face value. It's regardless of what it comes with, it's still a pre-order, and I'm just like, I'm not like. If we'll never see it, but there's like maybe a $10 version of like you get like a few things that's worth a few bucks, but like, oh, you want me to play? But again, $40. Like, nope, I'm no longer pre-ordering. You've burned me too much. You have no one to blame but your fucking selves.
Yeah. It's a great way to start the show. Positive note. but no, you're right. You're absolutely right. So, and then to connect to this, as far as for multiplayer that either should be better or should have been in the game in the first place, I wanted to start the show off with just ripping the Band-Aid off even more with Halo Infinite's campaign co-op, which they said that is supposedly supposed to be showing up next week, if I'm not mistaken. But there's been some strange news around that particular co-op. I wanted to read this from Game Rant. So it says here in quote, Halo Infinite has had a bit of turbulent, has been a bit of a turbulent last 8 months. While Halo Infinite was first met with a good amount of critical acclaim, with both critics and longtime fans praising 343 Industries for managing to bring the series back to its beloved roots, the last few months have seen a significant drop in Halo Infinite's player base, and public opinion has shifted. At first, fans were disappointed with the lack of new multiplayer content, and then 343 added a handful of maps and modes, but the poor rollout of Halo Infinite's recent multiplayer seasons has led to some fans to just jump ship. One of the biggest features of Halo Infinite still hasn't been patched in, the game's co-op campaign mode. Campaign co-op has been an absolute staple of the Halo franchise ever since it debuted in 2001, and though Halo Infinite's campaign was great, the lack of either online or split-screen co-op was certainly felt by fans. Well, Halo Infinite is finally receiving its co-op campaign update, but it isn't quite as simple as straightforward as fans would want. So just to read a little bit of the limitations here, It says right now, Halo Infinite's campaign co-op mode will only be available as part of a limited time beta. While the full co-op mode will be headed to Halo Infinite at some point in 2022, the actual release date still hasn't been confirmed, meaning that if fans wanted to play through Halo Infinite's campaign with another Spartan anytime soon, they'll have to do so within the beta's limited period. Beginning on July 11th, players will be able to play Halo Infinite's co-op campaign for just 11 days, with the beta ending on July 22nd. There's also a few steps players need to take in order to gain access to the limited beta. First, players will need to sign up to the Halo Insider program. If they haven't already, players will also need access to Halo Infinite's campaign, either from a purchased copy of the game or via Xbox Game Pass. From there, interested players will need to fill out a quick form, on Halo Insider and send it off. Eventually, a limited number of players will hear back within 343 with the confirmation that they've been accepted into the Halo Infinite campaign beta and given a code to redeem. On top of all this, players who, Jesus, fucking ads. On top of this, players who are planning to experience the beta on Xbox console also need to install the Insider app on their machine, which allows users to download pre-release software. I'm just gonna stop there. That's fucking ridiculous.
We're done. 343. Fuck you. Give Halo the id. I'm done. 343.
I've been saying that for a while.
I'm done. Dude,
that is insane.
That was way too much.
Yeah.
If I was sort of hinting Overwatch's beta is not truly open. I have to do forms and send and download the apps, and it's a beta and it's a limited time. And this is Halo 343. You're done. Give it to id. I'm done with Halo. And even then, let's say I ignored all that. Let's say I ignored all that. Once again, for me, I still have to play Halo story by myself. Again, ignoring all that limitations and forms and apps and bullshit, I'm still not going to be playing the story that they made me excited for. They made me excited for how the last Halo game ended. That story is now in logs and journals and little codex you find around the world. So even on face value, even if I ignored all that bullcrap we just heard of 11-day beta for a delayed cooperative mode of Halo we're talking about, it's still not the story we should have gotten. Yeah. I was impressed with 343's first two games, but after this, in my opinion, they're done. Someone else needs to take over, or again, this goes back to that one interview where Phil Spencer said Halo will still survive after this, and it made us very concerned.
Now we know what he was talking about.
I am now very concerned of what the future of Halo is, and if I was Phil Spencer, it's the next game needs to be an overhaul, or I'm saying, a potential new studio. What the hell happened to Halo?
What are your thoughts, Church?
So, there's a lot of passion in this room. It's a lot of passion. I love it. So, I'm going to give some pushback on this. I have a different perspective. I don't follow the multiplayer much in Halo anymore for obvious reasons. The seasons haven't been that good. I heard of Halo Infinite, and I wanted to play the campaign with the friends. I said, let's do Legendary, let's do day one release, let's go. That wasn't a thing in this game. So I've been looking forward to co-op, and the presence of its missing has been felt. But I follow the Halo community very closely. I already knew this was going to be a Halo Insider flight test in July. I think Game Rant has some things missing in the article, so it's just a beta for people that are already insiders, like Sea of Thieves has an insider program that can test content ahead of time before the co-op game release in August. Now, is that acceptable? No. It's still not acceptable, but these are just the facts at the end of the day. I don't like it. I mean, I heard that there's some positive things about the co-op experience, that if you're playing with your friends, your save progress is moving over to your save progress. So if I play with Arthur, for instance, and we get to mission 10, I can solo mission 11 now because my progress goes. Redfall doesn't have that, so I'm happy they're doing it the right way. But is it too late? I think it's too late. Who cares about Halo at this point? I mean, I don't want to go back and play a game. I got God of War coming up in the fall. I got Starfield coming up next. Overwatch is coming out in the, my attention for multiplayer shooters, first person, is going to be divided. They missed the mark, and it's sad that this news is not it's not helpful. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think for my take, to me, it almost makes me want to question what their original intent was for the player for the game, because
Yeah.
I keep thinking of the chronology around all of this. First, starting with where we first saw Halo for the first time, and everyone was like, they didn't, and there's a lot of people that were saying didn't really see any co-op. Didn't really see any split screen. Like didn't see any, like co-op or multiplayer features or whatever. It was just like a very like undercooked graphics of Halo. And then they got the message, and then they, meeting and got pushed back, yada yada. But part of me is like, what was your guys' original intent for the player? Like, why did you guys think that focusing on this battle pass shit, but not a core mechanic that has been popular since 2001? That was
Since
the last
the original
thing.
Xbox.
So I gotta jump in because it's like I haven't played Halo since like Halo 3. I mean, of course I did like Reach and ODST, but not 4
Yeah.
and 5, right? But yeah, I'm expecting co-op, right? I'm expecting mode since the original game. They're not inventing something new for Halo Infinite. Like you said, these are key features that we are expected to have. And the idea of like, oh, it's our first open world, so it presented challenges. I'm like, open worlds is not a new phenomenon. They've been going on for a decade plus right now. So it's undercooked. They rushed the product out and it's just not complete. Like, how do you not have Halo Infinite on a whiteboard and you have single player campaign and co-op campaign on the board at the same time?
Yeah.
How do you not start that brain storming thinking idea at that stage? Like those are key concepts.
Because to me the case in point is that the open world mechanic was a mistake. Completely.
Oh, well, no.
In my opinion.
What?
In
Okay,
my opinion.
elaborate.
Because well, think about it. What's the real reason why of all this pushback? What's the real reason why they don't have fucking co-op? Why they don't have co-op? Why they don't have it where someone can just play the campaign over and over again? I don't think you can still do that unless they added a patch. Because originally you cannot replay a level over.
No, it's like
the patch is coming. Like the whole
What
game.
I'm saying?
That's the model for this game.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, in my opinion, if I were to guess, if they were to take away the open world aspect and have it be a solid fucking campaign, focus on multiplayer, obviously, focus on co-op and whatnot, I think players would be happy. I don't think people would be like, man, I wish Halo was open world. You know what I mean?
It's like Fallout 76. Now I know it's something we'll be getting to later. It's like on face value, it definitely is a demand for like cooperative Bethesda games. But the way 76 did it is like, oh yeah, it's an open server. It's like whoa. You had me a cooperative. Well, you need an open server. Let's dial it back.
Yeah.
So with Halo, with this open world campaign, it's like put it this way, it's like if you're telling me the next Sonic game's open world, oh wow, that I could see that makes sense. It's like, hey, the next Halo game's open world. Okay, but Halo's not an RPG, so because that's just for me. Like for me, open world, like the phrase almost like is synonymous for open world RPG. It's like you can't hear like to a point. Like if you hear the word open world, it's immediately followed by the phrase RPG. So they have Halo open world. It's like, okay, cool. How we doing this? Friends, right? No. So here's another reason why I'm mad about this. This is a beta off a delayed service we should have since day one.
Right.
How the fuck after this long and a delay, there's still a beta?
Right.
So how far, like you said, Church, how far down the totem pole was fucking cooperative for Halo, the face of Microsoft?
Yep.
A feature we've had since original Xbox. So you're telling me in the now the days of Xbox Series X, the new consoles, we are getting a beta after a delayed feature such as cooperative. That's why I'm pissed.
Because no, and I completely.
Well, let me
go ahead.
respond to the open world thing.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna disagree with you off a little bit. When the world that comes after open world for me is not necessarily RPG. It's sandbox. So when I think of a Halo open world, I think of a sandbox, and I played the campaign, and it's amazing. I think the open world is the most refreshing take for Halo in a long time. Just the set pieces in terms of how you can approach a mission is really cool. But it'd be so much better with the friends to play it at the same time. I remember when Halo Infinite first got announced, I was thinking it was going to be like Destiny, but like Halo. You can have 4-player co-op, just do missions over and over again, and the game is so far away from what it is what I originally thought it was going to be back in the day. But
Mm-hmm.
but go ahead. What were you?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, even like, I mean, obviously, I have my qualms with Grand Theft Auto and whatnot, but I remember when Grand Theft Auto fucking 5 came out, like GTA Online, I think it showed up later. Like when the game originally came out,
It
like
was like
it was like,
later.
Yeah.
Good 2 or 3 years later. Yeah,
and that makes sense. Why did they like to me? It's just like the what they were focusing on, and I do agree with you, Church, as far as like open world sandbox. But to me, it's like, okay, but I don't. Me as a gamer, like, you're introducing to me a new thing that I'm not originally accustomed to, because, and say if I have been a player of Halo since 2001, like, give me at least the things that I'm familiar with before introducing this new thing. Like, I could at least respect Grand Theft Auto 5 for doing that, as far as here's the game, here's the open world, here's all this stuff. GTA Online will be out soon. You know what I mean? And then when it's out, it's not a fucking beta thing. It's just, you gotta get a bigger hard drive.
Yeah.
but like, I could respect that. When it comes to this, it's like, oh, you guys are like pussyfooting around this. Like, you guys aren't really. This isn't really a focus. You know what I mean? Like that is my biggest. That is my biggest disappointment with 343, and it sucks because they've been doing good work. Before this, you don't think so?
I don't think.
But you haven't played 4 and 5.
No, I haven't played. Speaks for itself.
That's their game. That's their game.
Speaks for itself. Do I need to say more?
I haven't played the last 2 games. They're not doing good.
But I played Halo Wars.
Halo Wars.
Yeah,
okay.
I played Halo Wars.
I mean,
but I like those like strategy type games. So, but I haven't played the mainline series.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I feel like to a point, if you're to like experience my side, it's like you're like I don't see why Arthur likes Diablo. I don't know why Arthur is so mad Diablo Immortal. No, I've never played Diablo before, but like it's like, you know what I mean. So it's like.
But I played Halo before. Don't get it twisted.
But so you're saying how you like the story, but I'm saying is, if you would have played Halo 5, it's like I'm saying, it's like you play Halo 5. This game's like standalone game. So it's like, why Halo 5 did exist? Well, so why even did Halo 5 exist, or why does this game even exist if they have nothing to do with each other? So you know what I'm saying, it's like you play Halo 5, you're like, oh, I can't wait for more. Here's this. Oh, cool. So where's all this other stuff? Don't worry about it. So here's a new game, and you're like, what the fuck? So even like I'm not saying the campaign's bad, but I'm saying it's not the campaign we should have got.
It wasn't a focus.
It's the Halo game. Who is it for? Is the question.
Yeah.
It's not for loyal fans that've been playing 4 or 5. It's not for people that remember Halo. Like, who is this game for? And I just feel Microsoft fumbled the mascot Halo, and going future, Halo is not a key component of the portfolio anymore going forward.
Yeah.
That's just, in my opinion, that's how I feel. Halo is dropped off, I think.
And that's sad for an Xbox mascot, man, or just one of their biggest IPs.
And they should pull the Band-Aid off right now for Halo Infinite while it's kicked down, and stop any updates for the original Xbox One. And because I think those systems are holding back what the console could be.
Yeah.
So at this point,
I agree. I agree.
On the console thing, you're not wrong. But for me, when it comes to Halo 5, any other future years, Halo Infinite, that game's done for me. Like I don't want to play the multiplayer. You know, I don't want to play Halo the Battle Pass. It's like we didn't. So even the multiplayer, you can see how much they focused on the battle pass. We didn't have Forge at launch. We didn't have choice queues at launch. Like again, we're playing Overwatch. In Overwatch, it's like, hey, do you want to play this type of game, this type of game, this type of game? Queue for what you want. And also Halo, and so since Halo the multiplayer is based on their challenges, God help you if you have a mode-based challenge, because you're like. Because you can't do it unless you play that mode. Like, remember, me and Caleb played for hours, and we never played one not big Team Slayer, but the one you get to put the batteries in the base.
Oh, it's stockpile. Yeah,
stockpile.
Yeah.
Like, you and Caleb had stockpile challenges, and we didn't get stockpile once.
Not once.
Hours in playing. It's hours of playing. We never got that. So it's like, again, it's like, so how? It's like they messed up so bad. It's like, okay, we're all about the battle pass. It's all about challenges. The only way to progress in the battle pass is with challenges. Well, since you can't choose your game mode, You get lucky in the queue, and we again, you can get shit luck all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's disrespectful too, because it's like they made the Master Chief Collection, right? It's like you raise these kids and you leave them to die. Like, how dare you? You know.
And one thing I will point out before we I go in like the hard like absolutes, I will say Halo, at least in terms of style, Halo has dipped its feet in open world. Dipped its feet. Halo ODST. ODST, it dipped its foot because in Halo ODST, it's like you're in the city and like you can, and it's like, hey, there's these 3 areas that are messed up. You can go this way, or this way, and you can kind of choose what you do in order. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't fully open world, but
Case study, a little bit of a case study.
But for Halo, that was a different style thing because I'm not saying Halo is like a rail shooter, but it is go from point A to point B, B to C, etc.
Yeah.
But Halo ODST was like, hey, there's 3 missions, 1, 2, and 3. You could do them whatever order you want, whatever. And it had cooperative.
Yeah.
So again, so if like let's say 343 says, well, we focus too much up in the open world, that's why we couldn't get cooperative. I say, well, what about the fucking ODST?
Yeah.
ODST had, now it wasn't a true open world, I'll give it that, but it did have elements of open world in terms of player choice, in terms of mission choice and what order, and it was cooperative since day one.
Yeah.
So for me, if 343 or people to say, hey, they focused on open world, I'm like, we've seen that before in Halo. That excuse doesn't fly with me.
Fair enough.
Interesting. And rolling over to more co-op news. This one was kind of interesting, and curious to see your guys' thoughts on this as well. Looks like Skyrim is going to be receiving an online co-op mod, getting a full release this week, supposedly. So it says here on IGN.com, it says Skyrim Together Reborn, a new and improved cooperative mod for Skyrim, is being released later this week, July 8th, which is tomorrow, recording it on the 7th. Skyrim Together Reborn allows up to 8 players to play Skyrim together with more or less everything in the game synced up. Quests and contents of chess, audio, and subtitle dialogues are much more and fully synced between players' games, and a PvP can even be enabled if wanted. As reported by PC Gamer Mod from Tilted Online is a master of sorts of modding team's previous version of the mod, simply called Skyrim Together, but this new version was built from the ground up and features vast improvements. That's not to say that it will work flawlessly, though, as the team noted in a Reddit post that it's incredibly difficult to turn single-player games into multiplayer games, especially as most members are volunteering contributions in their free time. The mod won't be perfect, but it will occasionally crash. Some quests will break. There will be some bugs. This is not fixable, the post said. So this is just reality of making a multiplayer mod instead of having a massive studio like Bethesda make a multiplayer game. Still, it's
Shots fired.
hashtag we don't know what we're doing now. It says still it's playable, it's fun, it's a lot better than the old Skyrim Together mod, which was Goal of Reborn. Let me stop there. Church, your thoughts on this?
I think it's cool. I always like the mod community when it comes to Bethesda games, and I'm happy that Skyrim is still have that community going. Cardinal sin of mine, I've never played Skyrim in all these years, and this won't get me to play Skyrim. Now, I played Morrowind and Oblivion, but I just hadn't had a chance to play Skyrim. So it's cool that you got an 8-player co-op. I don't know. I think that's... it is funny when you juxtapose it next to Halo, how like this game Skyrim is getting like
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Skyrim's getting more praise for its cooperative shit from modders
yeah.
than 343 on the founding franchise of Halo.
Yeah, it's funny. Maybe those models need to get hired by 343. They have a lot of openings at this point.
Not gonna lie, to a point, just because I knew this was the next topic.
Yeah.
That's why I went a little fucking extra in
Yeah.
on 343 and their cooperative shit. It's
Well, they deserve it.
It's like, do you want to know who could do cooperative? These people volunteering the time to do the Skyrim shit. Do the Skyrim shit. Oh, and guess what? You're bitching. You can't do cooperative for an open world game, motherfucker. This is Skyrim. This is the king of open world.
Yeah.
Yep, the king, man.
You know what's funny? Like why I'm not like offended if you saying you haven't played Skyrim yet, because the game keeps living and looking better and better. It's like once you start, you're probably gonna like it as if you started playing it when it first came out. Like the game is so good.
I told you I'm doing a different character class because I think to a point, a lot of people have have their own like archetype of character they do consistently.
Yeah.
I do consistently stealth ranged. If it's a gun game, I'm doing stealth guns. If it's games like Skyrim, I'm doing stealth bows, et cetera, et cetera. So now that in this new version, I'm playing again like a new type of character type. It's like I'm playing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I will suggest if you ever do dip your feet,
Yeah.
quick thing. This game, like some remasters that came out for both old console and new console, there is some hiccup with the purchase system. So remember, but Skyrim Vanilla is on Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
The 10th anniversary edition is sold as a bundle or sold separately. So, for example, since you have Game Pass, Josh, you would download Skyrim Vanilla and then buy the upgrade on its own for like $20.
Yeah.
It's like there is a bundled version of the update with the game, but again, since Xbox bought Bethesda for roughly $69 billion, Skyrim's definitely yes, appropriate. Skyrim. So again, just real quick, just a reminder because there were hiccups at launch of how to purchase it. Again, Game Pass owners download the game, download vanilla game via Game Pass, and then buy the 10th anniversary collection on its own for like $20.
I mean, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I don't know if I'll ever do it because Skyrim is such a massive undertaking. And I got like limited time, but
Yeah, you were rolling with Elden Ring for a while. Too.
I know. And Elden Ring just like, man, that game just keeps on. It's a game that keeps on giving. But if I go through heartbreak in my life, at some point,
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm like, if I need. That's why I hear it's like, if your girlfriend breaks up with you, play Skyrim, you
Be
gonna get
immersed
through
in
it.
the world. That's hilarious.
But I'll say this: if you ever do dip your feet in the Skyrim, again, you'll just see why, just on a game mechanic level,
Yeah.
why that game was so popular and 2.0 it still is, because that game brought us so many firsts. Like a lot of the quote unquote norms of RPGs, though I haven't played it, I would bet money there are some like mechanics, let's say, in potentially Elden Ring, that were really a first and or I would argue mastered via Skyrim.
I mean, I believe it, man. Like, just Bethesda's been doing their thing since Morrowind and Oblivion. I'm mad that I missed out on it, but the next Elder Scrolls, I'll definitely dip my toes. In 10 years' time, I think I'll be ready.
One thing I will say to this mod, getting its official release on July 8th. As of right now, it is a PC only mod. So even though Bethesda game, even though there are mods supported by Bethesda coming to console via the Vault Pack, whatever they call it, because Joe, when I played Skyrim and I streamed Skyrim, there's mods you can have. Like,
right.
Shocker, I'm the droid from the prequels with a lightsaber in Skyrim.
Yeah.
So even though there are mods that are available on console, come quote unquote launch, which is as of right now July 8th, that launch is exclusive for PC. Now, as of right now, we have no information if this is coming to console, because it took me forever to find an answer. Like, everyone was posting about this mod, but I could not find if someone explicitly said this is only for PC or this is coming to console. Honestly, it took like my 6th article to find if like someone finally asked the question.
My man Arthur doing that journalism.
I want to know because Jerrell, you bet your ass, if Skyrim became cooperative. Oh shit! Here we go again.
Let's hit up the homies. Let's hit up the homies.
But as of right now, it is exclusive to PC. I hope it comes to console. Now that we can have mods on console via the Bethesda support thing.
Yeah, I just think even hearing Skyrim and co-op in the same sentence, I'm just kind of like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus.
I didn't know it was up to 8 players. Like,
yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's pretty wild.
Like all the classes and races at once.
They are putting like tips to people because you can do all the settings and stuff you want.
Yeah.
And they're saying, hey, since it is up to 8 people, there is a friendly fire setting. We recommend you turn it off. But there are settings just to keep the game challenging, so you're not just like 8 people steamrolling over the entire fucking game. There are things you can avoid. Like if one person sets up like Church, like this may not happen. Church, you're walking in front of me, like, oh man, Church avoided that trap. Be a shame if somebody steps on it, but so they're all again. So that was an issue they said coming into this is like, how do you address that? And they're like, fuck it, just customize toggle settings to what you want. But even if you turn friendly fire off, Again, the game is still live and open. So again, if someone sets off a trap, and fireball launches at somebody, it's still going to hit them the way it should.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But I am happy they're being honest. Like, hey, this is buggy, and they even gave shade. We're not a big company, Bethesda, who's definitely capable of doing this. We're just a bunch of friends.
We're not as good as them.
It's like, hey, no one bought us for $69 billion. We're just doing the best we can. We're volunteering our time. So
Exactly.
I like how they were upfront. They were upfront. Hey, we know a lot of people are excited about this. We know a lot of people, IGN, PC Gamer, and everyone's doing articles. So let's be very upfront. This is a mod, not a DLC. So there's gonna be bugs. Some of your game's gonna crash. But hey, you got it. You're welcome. And like again, Shanta Dark, and it's like it's not like we're a multi-million-dollar company like Bethesda.
And one thing I think that's great too is that it speaks volumes to the community that like kind of takes like matters into their own hands. You know what I mean? Like even just from Arthur, and we talk about this a lot when it comes to the loading times of Grand Theft Auto 5, for example, and how someone cut it down by like 70% or something.
70%. One person. And he was just like, oh yeah, I just do this and this, and they paid him like $10,000 when they're making like hundreds of millions of dollars a month. But just like the fact that like when a group of people are like, you know what, it'd be really cool if we did this, and I know people are looking forward to it, let's just do it. You know what I mean? Like more companies are hiring those people, which I think is awesome. You know what I mean? But it just shows the power of like gamers putting like steps into their own action to make things that people want to play. And I feel like there's a lot of companies that struggle with that. Sony. I mean, like it's like it reminds me of that.
I mean, it's kind of interesting because it makes you wonder like what are all these people doing in the company for like a day after day if they're not trying to streamline processes and making it as easy as possible. A similar parallel kind of story is when it comes to I don't know if you guys are into anime, so to speak. I know this is a video game podcast, but let's take the show like Naruto or Boruto. When it comes to like major fight scenes, they would actually outsource those fight scenes to fans, and they would volunteer the fight. So that's how, because it's a shortage of animators to do all these anime. So when it comes to big fight scenes, fans would go in, do the major fight scenes, and that's what you actually would see on TV.
Via animation?
Via animation.
I know that. I know that.
That is interesting.
So similar to this guy for GTA 5, and this one bring it back. It's like they coming back to, if you go to the fans, the people that love it, they might have ideas that can make the game better, and you should look for those talent and kind of hire them internally. And you can, it'd be a great thing to do, because who's going to work harder than people that already love the game at the end of the day? So
it's funny. Very random note on Naruto. I guess there is an article that this guy, he wanted his girlfriend to watch Naruto with him.
Yeah.
So like he took a bunch of seasons and cut out like 2 hours of like storylines that didn't matter.
The fillers.
The filler.
Yeah.
So it's just
You
like
definitely do
hardcore
that.
action. So I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I was like, shout out to that guy. But no, I think that's a great parallel example to an analogy for this. I like that. I think that's really awesome. I just salute gamers that that do shit like that, because I think it's awesome. And obviously in today's times, it's hard to even do anything creative, because it's like, fuck, how much is a box of cereal?
It reminds me of the guy that made the guy that made GoldenEye 007 in the Far Cry 5 map maker.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, he did
Like
that sounds
2 or
pretty cool.
3 years, but yeah, it was like a full 1-to-1 ratio of like old school
1-to-1.
GoldenEye.
Oh wow.
And then MGM sued him, and now it's gone.
And I was like, oh man, that was
You made a quality version of RIP. We're gonna fucking sue you.
I'm like, just give him a job, man. God damn, yeah.
I know. He puts on his resume. Oh wow.
Nintendo out of
And
it.
it's like, yeah. Can you imagine like someone who like a Nintendo, like something like that? They put this on their resume, and their response is like, oh, here's our counteroffer. It's like a fucking subpoena.
It reminds me of The Simpsons, where like where the cops are like, "Oh, like free boats," and like Homer's like, "Where's my boat?" And he goes in this room, and cops just like beat him up and like arrest him because he has like a bunch of tickets.
Oh yeah,
Where's my boat? It's like there's no boat.
it's like
You're in trouble.
Nintendo puts a fake ad for hiring modders.
Yeah.
Turns out it's just to give them all cease and desist at once.
Right. You all owe us $50 million combined. So staying on Bethesda, I wanted to talk about this next news story, which is also very interesting. I know Arthur was letting me know about this as well, or we were just kind of like throwing like links together. But Fallout. So Fallout London, according to IGN here, so for the title of the article, it says Fallout London, a DLC-sized mod for Fallout 4 gets a brand new trailer and a release window. It says Fallout London, a highly anticipated DLC mod for Fallout 4 has received a lengthy new trailer, new 2023 release window to be specific. It says shared on the mod's YouTube channel. In a tweet below, the 4-minute trailer shows off a ton of the game's derelict locations. From the decimated tube tops from an overgrown tower bridge, we also get a look at some of the NPCs in the mod. Though whether these enemies, allies, or even a bit of both, they're unclear. The trailer highlights a handful of relatively normal-looking characters that wouldn't look out of place in a regular Fallout game, alongside some wackier individuals, including a wild-looking tree man. It says here, fans are eager to find out who these NPCs are. And we'll have to wait a little bit longer given the announcement that Fallout London is coming next year. So nothing more specific was revealed in the trailer, but this is the first indication of a release window the developers have been offered in the mod's 4 years in development. I guess I'll just stop here and quote. But so yeah, I mean, once again, man, Fallout London for Fallout 4, which is another staple, another badge on Todd Howard's nuts when it comes to the greatness of what they've done right. Arthur, what are your thoughts? Let me throw the ball to you first.
Well, and the one thing too, and remember that, and there's another I'll say kind of what Church mentioned a little bit ago. There was a follow up to this news of Fallout London. So first of all, Church, have you heard of Fallout London?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's massive. Like I said, DLC sized mod, and the follow up to this is Bethesda is making offers to some of the modders that made Fallout London. So and that's awesome. And I think a funny response to that is some
when
of
you
them
say offers, like to come to work at the company. Yeah,
yep.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some of them are turning them down.
Oh shit.
That's crazy.
So, but I agree. It's a good thing that at least they're reaching out for an offer. I think it's funny, kind of a Chad move to be like, no, I don't want to work. I don't want to work for you.
I'm not crunching, bitch.
But again, it just shows the go. It's like this just shows how it's like more and more. It's like, oh man, AAA's are letting you down, man. Indie games and modders, help us.
Right.
I can't wait. I can't wait for this. This honestly might get me back into Fallout 4. Because as much as I shit on 76, and to a point, the reason why I shit on 76, one of the reasons why I shit on 76 even more is because of how good Fallout 4 was.
Fallout 4 is a classic.
So good.
It's one of the greatest games ever made. It's incredible. Yeah. Have you played Fallout 4?
No, I haven't played Fallout 4.
Dude, put it this
Ooh.
way, I put 300 hours into that game before any DLC dropped.
Yeah.
It's a huge.
That was the first game where I was like, fuck, they got this right. Because even Fallout 3, I was like, this is really impressive. A lot of bugs, but really impressive. And Fallout 4, I was like, this is great. I remember my brother, even remember watching my brother play the game. He bought all of the expansions or whatever that came out with it, beat them all. He created a bunch of shit, like ships and stations or whatever. Just he did so much shit in the game, and I was like, this is incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's to me that's the first game where they really earned my respect. Because for me, Morrowind and Obsidian, they were great at that time. I felt like they were great attempts, but it was just a very buggy experience. But I was like, I appreciate this for what this is. And then Skyrim obviously changed that for me on that end. But to me, Fallout 4 was the first one where I was like, I'm impressed. This is incredible.
As great as Skyrim was, coming off the success of that, Fallout 4 was just a balls to the wall. They stuck the fucking landing.
Yeah.
I knew it was impressive when they showed the trailer for the game and it was going to get released a few months later. So I was aware of that timeline. So I thought it was really cool that you can see something and then it would just come out. I'm not a big fan of post-apocalyptic games, so to speak. But I have played Fallout 3. I do like the system. It was fun to play. Just 4 never captured me. In regards to the London news, I mean, I think it's great that the modders are like out there creating a whole new DLC. I don't, maybe like Bethesda should try to scoop it up and like buy the DLC and try to release it or maybe polish it more. If it's that big, would you want it like more to it at that point? I mean, they already
like supported.
That's an interesting
supported.
point.
I mean, it'd be great. I mean, for like, I guess Xbox or Bethesda to support something, you already have the London DLC. Like, hey, let's take what we have and try to expand it a little bit more. And maybe for, I mean, it's different because I'm assuming the mod is for free, right? So, like, do you want to sell it at the point? But I think you should try to capture the talent. And Arthur, like you said, they've already trying to do that. But would you guys want to see them pick up the DLC, the London, and try to beef it out a little bit more? I mean,
Yeah, I would.
That's a really good question. I would say no, just because I feel like they wouldn't give it the time that it deserves. Because they're still making content for 76. They're obviously still working on Starfield, which is 20 years in the 25 years in the making, and obviously like they can't own all those 20 years because it's just been hopped to different companies, etc.
Yeah.
And then apparently they're working on Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6. We don't know where they're at in that. I just don't know if they would have the specific team to focus on the London to make it a better experience. I think it is a great point that you make. I think the fact that they make something that's so enticing for the gamer community, it would make sense for them to buy it and to just fine tune it, or even just to at least set up some contracts with them, you know what I mean? Or or pay them out. Like the fact that they're creating a full huge world of a working world within Fallout, and then the fact that they're allowing it to be a part of the actual fucking game that people bought, I think that's very admirable. So I think for the fact that, hey, there's value in this, let's make this even more valuable and just more reliable. You know what I mean? So I think it's a valid point. I just don't trust them. I guess my point.
You just don't trust them.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna ruin it. It's not gonna be as good anymore.
It's like, here's this great car I've been taking care of for years. Great. Turn around the stop sign, car crash. You know what I mean? Like, I still know.
I hear you.
But great point, definitely. The next topic, I am very, very excited. I don't want to go on a tangent. I might go on a tangent, fuck it. But it's funny going back, blast from the past and talking about different RPGs that kind of stole our hearts and kind of solidify just like the genre and just like true quality. And obviously, when it comes to BioWare, we've talked about this before, Arthur, as far as like BioWare not being the same BioWare that we used to know. And I feel like this is a step definitely in the right direction. I don't know who pulled this move or who worked this out, but I will obviously elaborate. Starting with the title of this article here from Video Games Chronicles, it says here the writer behind Deus Ex has joined BioWare. So it says Mary DeMarle led narrative on the modern of Deus Ex games and the Guardians of the Galaxy game. So it says Mary DeMarle spent more than a decade at Eidos Montreal building the Deus Ex universe fans know today. DeMarle was in charge of the narrative and writing in all recent Deus Ex titles, including Mankind Divided, Human Revolution, and mobile spin-offs of the Deus Ex Go and Deus Ex of the Fall. She also created the story and led writing team for 2021's Guardians of the Galaxy, which won the Game Award for Best Narrative. The narrative designer shared the BioWare news in her LinkedIn page on Friday, but did not specify any specific projects. It's possible that she could be involved in the upcoming Dragon Age Dreadwolf or Mass Effect 4. Let's see. I'll read what she says here. She says, for many, many years working in this industry, I've known that the story is often subverting to gameplay, DeMarle says. She says, but if I understand the game and what is the feeling I'm trying to invoke for players, then I can understand that gameplay is trying to do it in this way and the story is here to support that or bring it forward. How can the things I write help to emphasize the things the gameplay needs, etc.? As long as you always know the game you're trying to make and understand why, then it just comes down to the constant communication between narrative and gameplay and constantly looking and understanding it from the point of view, end quote. I'm really, really excited for this. And the fact is, like, just to kind of get on my soapbox here before I throw the ball to you guys. So, like, for Deus Ex in general, right? When it comes to, like, I'll talk about Human Revolution for one. I loved that game. I love that game on multiple fronts. Not only from like a music basis, because I thought the music was incredible, but the writing was really fucking good, and it was just very like it really sucked me in as far as like, wow, this could be really plausible. You know what I mean? And some of this stuff kind of is plausible, but just the fact of her understanding the narrative of a game and how it can affect gamers, I think is incredibly significant. That's why we get these great games like, you know, like The Last of Us, when it comes to just like really bringing in narrative, or Ghost of Tsushima, things like that, you know, that really tie you in when it comes to the narrative of games. And her being able to go over to BioWare, which is a company that we've held high, you know, back in the day, especially at the golden years when it comes to like the Mass Effects, the Dragon Age games,
Jade Empire.
you know, Jade Empire.
That, yeah.
I want a new fucking Jade Empire, but I won't go into that. But like, even just giving Mass Effect as an example, you know, the writing for Mass Effect, I mean, if you guys remember, like, it was so just like, is dense a word? Is the right word?
Which one?
Just, it was just so deep. You know what I mean? As far
Deep,
as just,
yes. Not dense.
not dense. So just in depth. So as far as like just when it comes to the talking about the political situation between different, you know, between different races, talking about like the science around like the planets and shit, and that's not even talking about the main like standard narrative of the game. Like it was such an involved, and like it was a game that was just there was a lot of shit in there. You know what I mean? And not only to say that your character fucking transfers, you know, for 3 fucking games, which to me is like, why aren't we seeing more of that? That's an incredible mechanic.
Good point.
But the fact that BioWare has got her, you know, and seen that value that she's done from these previous games, I think is really exciting, especially for if she does in fact work on the next Mass Effect game, because even though there are some people they were pissed off about, you know, the last Mass Effect or whatever, I feel like people were just upset just because it was ending. But well, what about my character? But like, they understand how impactful and powerful that series has impacted gamers, and it's like, we don't want to fuck that up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little more worried about Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Maybe it's just because like the color choice of like, here's the title. I'm like, okay, well, what else?
It's purple and blue.
Yeah, I'm like, it's kind of weird, but whatever. Okay, but this is a move where I'm like, okay, this is really cool. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like your favorite director is like directing your favorite like movie that they're remaking.
Yeah. I kind of want to jump in here real quick.
Good.
Because I think I might have a different opinion of this. I wonder if she is going to be with Mass Effect, because we already had the teaser trailer for Mass Effect. So it's already in production. So for her to come this late into it, I wonder if there's any room for her to lend her narrative creativity at this point. I would think it'd be more for Dragon Age. Because, like 1 or 2 years ago, we had that Mass Effect trailer where they just showed it on the screen.
Yeah.
So
one thing worth noting, Dragon Age is coming before Mass Effect.
Oh, okay. That's a good point.
Just in terms of release
That's a good point, yeah.
In terms of release, like, put it this way, in terms of Mass Effect, kind of like that teaser trailer, that's like all we got.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm just now, even though none of them have release dates, but
Yeah.
we will get Dragon Age before.
So
Mass
that's
Effect.
the first one. Okay, that makes sense.
But you do make a good point though. I hope she's not cleaning up. You know what I mean? Like, I hope she's not like.
I disagree. I wanted a clean house. Like,
yes,
fix everything.
I mean, yes. I guess like it's kind of like someone who like they get like I don't know, like they get like to me, the only thing that makes sense is like the game, like for GameStop, like when you're a store manager, like, oh, you get this new store and you get to clean up all the bullshit that the store manager did.
You mean like my second week into my job at GameStop and everyone in the entire store got fired except for me?
Yeah. Just get the new guy. He doesn't know.
Like a regional manager literally told the manager, he's like, that store is horrible and horribly mismanaged. Green light to fire everyone. Okay, this is a guy named Arthur. You can't fire him.
That's crazy. Sorry, let me just finish my point.
Oh, good.
So when I read the news of this, my whole reaction is, come to step on your dreams. It's like I'm not that excited for it. And here's why. Yeah, thank you. I haven't played Guardians. I have it downloaded on Game Pass. I heard it's great narrative. And I'm okay.
One game of the year narrative.
Yeah, right. And then I've heard some from my other friends too. They play the game. They said the story's pretty good. And I'll give her credit off top for that. My concern is when I played Mankind Divided. Because Human Evolution, I love that game. Deus Ex, I love I played so many hours of the game. I was so excited for the sequel. And when that game come out, it was bad. The story was bad. The cliffhanger. I don't even want to go into like the rest of the story behind a paywall for the DLC. When I saw, so if she was doing a game similar to Guardians, I would have more faith in the story if it was like a single player linear story. But the last game that she did, where it had multiple storylines, side quests, it didn't hit the mark for me. I wasn't invested in the story of Mankind Divided. And when it just started to ramp up, the game just ended. I don't know if you had the same experience for Mankind Divided at all.
I think I remember. Yeah, I think I remember that was a big criticism from a lot of people. Are like, "What the fuck? Like, it's over?"
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. You get to like Bowser's Castle and the game's just over. Like, what happened? We didn't even fight the boss. Like, what are we doing? So
yeah, I'm
not saying it's gonna be bad. I'll wait. For this is like the proof is in the pudding for me. I have to wait to see it. But cool that BioWare is getting some new talent, some, proven talent from past games. I just got to see where it leads for this for me.
I think that's fair skepticism, especially when it came to Mankind Divided. Part of me wants to think like if there was any like development hell going on.
Yeah, like
for the
like
game.
Possibly. For example, I can't
Square Enix.
Exactly. Like
yeah.
Yes. By the way, now that like I said, the more we talk about it, Square Enix's interest in paywall has been a long time coming.
Well, they just didn't like the Western studios, right?
Yeah.
Tomb Raider and Deus Ex have been like critically acclaimed by everybody, but they just like quote unquote didn't hit the money margin, so they didn't get like green light for a sequel, right? So
now we have a Chocobo Racing, the microtransaction, the game
makes the money, man.
I will say this: knowing what BioWare has been for its last couple launches, I'm totally down. She comes in and cleans house, like Anthem. So many problems with Anthem.
So many problems.
Like, and so even its story was like, its story had potential. Like, I still say one of the coolest battles. Like they had one of the coolest battles you can never play. There was like this prequel. There was like this like, hey, I'm gonna tell you a story about this historic battle, and you're like, I'm gonna jump in now. Okay, do we start playing now? And that's this 10-minute cutscene of like, wait, I couldn't. It was pretty much like D-Day with giant robots, and you're like, "Oh, this looks awesome! I want to."
Your analogy is crazy.
I want to play. And then boom, the cutscene just keeps going and going. So and again, look at another story-based game, Andromeda. Like who talks about that game? Like for me.
Oh yeah, I kind of deleted it from my brain.
I thought people enjoyed the story. They just had like the bugs with the facial animations. Am I wrong on that?
The facial animations was definitely a focus because it just drew you out. Like I am being super serious, telling you about somebody's death.
Dude, so even when you play the game, every 5 minutes your character has a stupid line. Like it's annoying.
Yeah, there was a lot of cringe, and so. And knowing how many people have just left BioWare, I'm happy to see a narrative focused person come in. And like I said, I didn't think it was worth noting. Like, oh, what was your last big thing? Game of the Year award for best narrative. Sounds good.
Yeah, that puts you a little bit higher on the list of the resume.
And that's like okay, cool. It's like okay, now we don't have to talk to Randy Pitchford. So I'm happy to see where this is, because like Jerrell and I mentioned, BioWare unfortunately for such a long time, BioWare is no longer the company it once was. It's just not. I want to see this Mass Effect do good, and I hope they'll have it, because now a lot of times we see a game have a mode or like a multiplayer that no one asked for.
Oh, you read my mind.
No one asked for Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. That
was
thing
fucking
was
incredible.
Mass Effect 3 multiplayer had no business being that fucking good.
It was so good, man.
And I was so disappointed when they didn't have it with the relaunch. Now I get it, because like it's a server. You gotta reactivate the servers, and it's like I get it, but
that was fantastic.
So having a narrative based person come into BioWare, a game that was founded on great stories like Knights of the Republic, Jedi Empire, all the games we just mentioned, and they're fall from grace when it comes to quality, at least. I'm looking forward to this. I really am.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I do understand your skepticism. I think it's very valid too. So we'll have to see what happens, unfortunately, which is lame, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm just curious to see where it lands. So we'll just have to see once that match.
You guys on the side of EA, what's happening to this podcast? Like, I don't know what's going on.
BioWare,
Like,
BioWare.
I like and again, just real quick to give you context of why I'm totally okay with She Cleans House.
Yeah.
This is how disconnected the team at BioWare was. The team at BioWare didn't know what the game Anthem was going to be until they saw the same trailer that we fucking saw at E3 of that that quote unquote in-engine game trailer of them walking through the bazaar and the big walker robots coming through. Even the people hands-on making the game are like, that's the game that's the game we're making? Oh shit, we're not doing that. And so coming off of that to just if she comes in and does a whole overhaul, green light, do your thing.
Yeah, I think that was one of the last games that I paid $60 for. Where it was like really disappointed.
That was definitely the start.
Okay.
That was definitely
like,
the start
what the
of my.
fuck?
I'm not pre-ordering anymore, because I did pre-order that game.
Yeah.
It looked fun. Like we saw the gameplay. Like we saw the gameplay at E3, and it like, oh, that game looks fun. And it's like, it had potential. It's unfortunate, because I think that's something. Not to go into it, because we mentioned before, but I will say this in terms of like something real quick. You mentioned the seamless transition in No Man's Sky of flying planet to planet. If I want the people that made Anthem to make the next Iron Man game. That was the funnest mechanic in that game. Just going.
That was fun.
Mode.
We're like, let's go, boys.
yeah,
To fly as a squad in jetpacks through tunnels and shit through caves.
Yeah.
That was a fun, seamless, like immersive thing in the game.
That
like
was fun.
the combat got repetitive, the story got competitive, but to be like, I gotta go over there. Like I want them to handle an Iron Man game.
the game just lacked content, man. At the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Yeah, it was an empty shell. So we're gonna be switching gears here. This is a little bit more of a serious topic, but I think it's valid given the past. I mean, it's not super serious. It's not like Blizzard serious, but it is something to talk about. It's not. That's just to break the ice. Previously this week, this past week or the week before, whatever, Sony Santa Monica, they were getting a little bit of heat as far as God of War, because I guess there's an old release date where God of War should have been out by now, and they were being harassed, and they said something on their social media as far as like, be nice to us, like kindness, decency, yada yada. And I was listening to David Jaffe's podcast, Gavin Games, and he does the YouTube stuff as well. And he has some really interesting stuff to say about it, as far as like how some people are like, look, fuck, like I'm a customer. Like if like like if there's something that I want, I'm going to express it, and I understand both sides of the fence. Obviously, when it comes to just full on disrespect and like verbal abuse, I don't
Death
agree
threats.
with death threats and shit like that. Like obviously that's like no one should be doing that. But I think there's a bigger conversation I had here when it comes to these developers having access to social media and how it's affecting them. So I'll dive more into my point of what I'm saying. But I'll start here with this article from IGN, and this is one example of all this is the Return to Monkey Island director will no longer be posting about the game due to online abuse. So he says here in quote, I won't be posting on about the game. The joy of sharing has been driven from me. So continuing, it says, as reported by Video Games Chronicle, Gibbert said on a blog post, the entirety of which has been shut down, the joy of the game has been driven from me. It isn't the first time the developer has been forced to defend the game following fan backlash. Says in quote, I'm shutting down the comments. People are just being mean, and I'm having to delete personal attack comments, Gilbert said. It's an amazing game, and everyone on the team is very proud of it. Play it or don't play it, but don't ruin it for anyone else. I won't be posting any more about the game, as I said already. It says here, Gilbert and developer Terrible Toy Box has received criticism over the game's art style, which the fans have criticized for not matching the original games that were released more than 30 years ago. So Gilbert said previously that the Return to Monkey Island may not be the art style you wanted or were expecting, but it's the art style I wanted, end quote. He said that the point of the games was never to have pixel art, but to instead use state-of-the-art tech and art to push the franchise forward, claiming that even if he'd stuck around to make Monkey Island 3, it wouldn't have looked like the previous games, end quote. So a couple of things I my thoughts on this. There's maybe like 2, maybe 3 points, but mainly 2 points. The first point is when it comes to these, I feel like in my mind, this originally was like a stereotype, and then when I watch these interviews and like E3 interviews of developers, you're like, oh, these developers, they really are like to themselves, like they really are like they're very uncomfortable on camera, responding to like even interview questions.
Lack of social skills.
Lack of social skills, and that is not even including online, right? Not even including talking to a community online.
Yeah.
So when it comes to me, when it comes to like certain developers that, obviously there's ridiculous focus needed to make games like that. And then it takes a certain person, certain temperament. And a lot of these folks, it's just like doing things out in the open, or just like responding to different things out in the open. It's not their thing. So imagine them getting connected to a social media account, or having a social media account, and then just freaking out when you're getting these comments, and not even, and let's just cut away obviously the abuse ones, because we obviously don't want those. But even ones where just people are just angry of whatever decision that they made, and them not being able to take it.
Passionate criticism.
Yeah. So I guess the first point / question is like, is there? I feel like in today's age, do people have the access to these developers of making these games? 30, 40 years ago, this wasn't even a conversation. You know what I mean? It was like you play the game, you like it or you don't like it, and you're like, fuck. You know what I mean? But now it's like you have access to people to say like, why did you do this? Why did you do that? You know what I mean? And these people are like, oh yeah, they can't take it. So it's like, is this access too much? Should these developers like? I wonder if these companies have even talked to them, say like, hey, you may or may not receive some heat from this. You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of the age of social media today. Like, I wonder if that conversation is even happening. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on that point?
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna have a different opinion than you guys about this, but my first take is I don't think the access is too much. A lot of times, of course, I don't agree with like death threats or like violence acts on social media. But I feel like sometimes people are way a little bit too sensitive. I mean, you don't need to have a social media account. You can make it private. The way you have access to all these people is because you allow access to the people.
I agree.
So it's just like, okay. And also, it's catch-22. I mean, I saw the Sonic Hedgehog trailer. I saw the first one.
Yeah.
Social media got a backlash, and we all got a better Sonic movie out of it because of it.
True.
Because it served the fans. Because at the end of the day, what you're making is a product for consumers, and we are the consumers. We want what we want. So when it comes to a game that people are excited for, I understand there is creative licensees that you want to express in your art. But if the consumer doesn't want it, then they're just giving you feedback on what they want to actually buy your game.
Right.
At the end of the day, so. Can it go a step too far? Of course. But I think it's actually good, especially when it comes to these games and the developers that are getting half-baked products. You know, we have Battlefield 2042. Not, all these AAA titles are,
Halo.
Like we talked earlier too. Maybe even the next Bethesda game, who knows? So it's just like being able to have a voice and giving feedback I think is vital. And the idea of like our voices should be silenced because it makes somebody uncomfortable or they just want to focus on the positive and not necessarily the negative is not something that I naturally went to adhere to. And it's like, well, these are people, they're working on a game. It's a story that you get all the time. My question is like, everybody's got a job.
Yeah.
So when I hear this, like, okay, yeah, man, I know you have a job, but I have a job too.
Yeah.
We all know what it's like to be called in and late. Everybody has done crunch before. I'm not proving that you should do crunch, but the phenomenon is not necessarily unique to the gaming industry itself.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I was just like, and especially if you asking me to buy a product, I kind of want it to be of a certain quality. Because you can't just blame me that someday that you decide to do your job and then decide to add co-op to the game for whatever reasons. And then like I get mad at it. And then it's like, all right, now you don't want me to say anything. Granted, there is the wheels of bureaucracy in indie industry. There's managers, those oversights, they may have control of this as well. So I don't think the fault is solely on one person, but there are decisions that have to be made. So circling back, I just do not think it's overreaching to have access to developers, especially if they're making the accounts public and sharing information. You don't have to show anything,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So that's kind of my stance real quick.
Well
And
said.
Yeah.
Well said. No, I agree. Well said. What are your thoughts, Arthur?
To me, this is like kind of like a point you hit. This like a big picture. This is more of a state of social media than a state of gaming. You see stuff like this almost anywhere in the entertainment industry, in the music industry, especially in the movie industry. Like we said, Sonic was changed because they were cyberbullied. I don't agree to the cyberbullying, but I'm happy with the results. And even then, you take out the social media aspect of it. Again, this is.
Is it cyberbullying when you like give feedback over the internet, or is it just negative? Sorry to interrupt you in your point.
Well, for me, it's because I take in point everything.
Yeah.
Like though we don't like the death threats, they were definitely there. Yeah, I mean, it's not the norm, but if you're just at your computer, it's like, oh, cool. How'd they like a trailer? Fucking kill yourself. What I mean?
Yeah, I think when it's not even, I'm gonna have to go back to your point, but I was gonna say like I think when it's not even feedback at all.
Yeah,
it's just.
It just
like you're talking about someone
just angry typing.
Yeah, like if you find a picture of like that developer's wife and you post it like I know where you, or a map, or like I know where you live. Like,
yeah, there's definitely lines, but if you say like something like, "Yo, this is trash," or "This is terrible," "This sucks," I mean, gamers. I mean, our art form is our critiques are very venomous since like Xbox Live, right?
It's just my thing. I think
it's gotta break it down. It's like, wait, what do you mean? I just didn't like the level 3, But your initial thing is like, it's trash.
Yeah, I got you. Continue.
My thing is though it's the extreme. I just think those types of responses are the loudest. Like I mean, like I'm because like there's definitely constructive criticisms. I'm just saying a social media team or an individual is more likely to pay attention with like a potential doxing than like, hey, I think if you do ray tracing here or there, I just think those just get more attention to a point. How can they not? The other thing is too, like they said, like to Jerrell, he said this is the state of social media. To me, this is not only more of just case just social media in general. Again, back to my point. This is my just thing of entertainment being again, even to a point. To your point. Criticized even in person, like for example go to BlizzCon and to our face, oh, you guys don't have phones, and then like us just going, oh, is this a practical joke? Fuck you. You know what I mean? So it's weird. My thing is,
gotta hold them accountable.
I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but this is a state of where we are. And again, this isn't a gaming. This isn't to me. This isn't truly necessarily a gaming thing, or even an industry thing. This is a social media thing. You could just be any person like I like blank, and I'm just sorry, it's not a good thing. But this is a state of the world we live in. You're gonna get somebody say you're gonna get something. Oh, you like blank? Go fuck yourself. Like that's just That's just a state. If you're to a point for me, if you're, but here's my give and take. To my thing is, you really as an adult in 2022 can't be surprised if you post something and people shit on it, but at the same time you kind of have the right to go, hey, you know what, go fuck yourself too. Like here's like we mentioned this before, I think we tapped on this before. Like I would totally respect like a developer or a PR team, they just came out saying, hey, so we're tired, we're tired of like our developers being threatened with doxes. Go fuck yourself. The game's gonna come out when they come out. Stop bothering us so we can focus on the game. I would respect that. I would respect if a PR team just goes fully like scorched earth policy and saying, hey, for the fans are like to legitimate fans are excited for this game. They're giving us constructive criticism. We thank you, but for everyone else, go walk in the traffic. We're gonna keep working on this game. Yeah, I would respect that.
I mean, I hear you, but they're not gonna mess up those sales, right?
They're not. That's
like,
so, but that's what I'm saying. And I know it's never gonna happen.
That's your
but
fan base.
It's never gonna happen. But like. And the thing, it's a hard road to walk, because even to a point, if you're not even posting stuff about the game, you're still gonna get crap. Like case in point, Dying Light 2. Remember, because Dying Light 2 is technically kind of on the curtails of like Dead Island 2, a game that was destroyed by production hell. So when we see a trailer for Dying Light 2, and then it's just darkness and silence for years, and people are like, is this game even going to exist? And the social media team just trolling. Here's a frog.
But I think even another point too is that they didn't just troll though. They took it like it was a case study. Tell me why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not only just fuck yourself too, tell me why it sucks. And people, and when people responded, you take, you make a diagram, right? People that just say it's trash, but they don't give any context. People that say it's trash, but they give detailed context. You break these things down, and I feel like some companies they're not really taking this data, and they're not really analyzing it appropriately. They want to make not all companies.
Yeah.
I think some companies, they just want to just take all the bad things and they want to spin it. Oh, hey, don't be mean. Or they want to do like a gaslighting response mentality when it's like, wait, look, like, but like when you trim the fat of all the I'm gonna kill you, but and take all of this data of people saying, no, this is bad because I can't even do this, and if this person has a point, and say you have 500 responses of around the same thing, okay, well, what are we doing here? Because I think there is a point of contention when it comes to, like you said, Church, as far as like making art, like. You're not making art for yourself. You're making it to sell it to a customer that is familiar with this franchise. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you have to take that into account. So while the creator is saying that, he did that for himself, that's a mistake to me. You didn't make this game for yourself, my guy. You made it for people to buy it so you can still have a job. That has to be taken into context when you're making art. You know what I mean? So I agree with both of you guys when it comes to just like, hey, respond in a way where you are taking information, because all of this is information, right? All of this is information. All this information can help you make a better game where people will buy it more, because we've seen time and time again, when a game is good, business is good. Elden Ring, the game was fantastic. It's like the highest. Is it still the highest selling game this year?
Probably.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when it's good, it's good. So it's like, and when it's bad, it's like learn from your mistakes. I think one example is, you guys remember the game 13? It was like this shell shaded like spy game. It came out way back when.
Is that like Sudia 51? No, I'm thinking of 7.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, I don't think it was Suda 51, but like they had a sequel, I guess, later down the road, and they took away the shell shade technology, and it was just like regular CG, and people were like, "What the fuck? Like this is like one of the main things that I liked about the game," and their response was, we are very sorry. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're sorry. Like, we tried something, it didn't work. We didn't listen to our customers. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the opposite of this, where it's like, look, are we just going to be defensive, or are we going to approach this in a very like case study format where it's like, okay, like, there's a difference between I don't like this and like, hey, like this, I don't even like this art, like this art style, I don't understand it, like I don't like, it's like I don't even want to play it, like
Final Fantasy 14, another example too. That the MMO had a complete overhaul. Like the Final, just a quick reminder, the Final Fantasy 14 MMO we see today is not the one that launched.
Yeah.
So
No.
so I said like 13. That was another case study you're mentioning.
Oh man, they did
of,
so
like-
much homework
of
on that
like,
shit.
hey, we listen to you guys. You got, like people have been mentioning X, Y, and Z. Hey, Jerrell, you might know this. What's it called when someone like takes data and does like a word map? Is it called a word map? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
You mean
it's
like a diagram?
It's like coding. It's a certain.
it's like a Venn diagram, but like a Venn diagram for words. It's like the most.
Yeah.
It's like the most common words. It's like the bigger the word in this, the result is the more times it was mentioned.
It's a form of coding.
Yeah. So like you're saying, Joe, there are cases like again, like I think that's the best. It's difficult, but it might be worth the effort. Waiting through the crap of all the crap that's just crap of the internet. Let's just be honest. The internet's been around for some time. If you're shocked at scrapping the internet, where the fuck have you been?
Right. Right.
So waiting through the crap and saying like, hey, you know what? Ignoring all this, people are mentioning lighting. People are mentioning hey, like there's too there's too many god rays. There's blocking. People are phasing through walls. Like 13. Like Final Fantasy, there are examples that can be case studies of waiting through the crap and listening. Hey, a lot of people are mentioning all these these feature, this example. Maybe let's work on that.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, we've said time and time again, No Man's Sky, another example. They listened,
Dude.
they put the work in, and then they had a much better product. So yeah, I think it is kind of like you're walking a line, you know what I mean? But I think at the end of the day, like you guys said, it's like, look, at the end of the day, we're selling it to a customer. We're not making this game for ourselves, you know. So you have to have the customer in mind. If you don't have the customer in mind, what are you doing?
If you're a chef, you're not making a burger for you. You're making a burger for what they ordered.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Like I like cheeseburgers. Here's a Beyond Burger with goat milk. I'm good.
but it's what I wanted. Yeah.
So, yeah. So like again, like so the point to get to Church's points, like this is for again art. You know, even like looking at artists, this isn't. You're not doing like a self portrait or a self project. This is arguably treated like a commission.
Yeah.
It's like we're asking for, you know, though we can't make, you know, it's not exactly 100 point to a commission if we're asking for X, Y, and Z, but there is a case to say, well, the customers are expecting X, Y, and Z. So it's like, again, like 13, a cell shaded game. It's like, okay, now we got CGI. Whoa. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. So, if you thought we were done with EA, just you wait here in the Games for Life podcast. This is an interesting story here. I want to get your guys' thoughts. I'm wondering if there's more that meets the eye here. I know in general, I am a big fan of single player games. I don't get to play multiplayer that much these days. Some of my favorite games are just single player. So reading this from Video Game Chronicle, they say here in quote, Electronic Arts has received a hugely negative response to a tweet appearing to mock people who in quote only like playing single player games, end quote. Said on Thursday, the FIFA and Battlefield publisher put its own spin on a popular meme by posting there are 10, but they only like playing single player games, end quote. The message, while likely intended as a lighthearted joke, received an overwhelmingly negative response, and it's more than just 7,000 replies. Jack Spectix Eye, I don't know how to pronounce that. The Irish YouTuber with nearly 30 million subscribers wrote, "There are 10, but thought this tweet was a good idea." Says here, developer Obsidian subtweeting EA writing, and quote, "Single player is dope, multiplayer is dope, games are rad," end quote. Responses even came from EA's own employees. Vince Zampella, head of EA's Respawn Entertainment, and I think we worked on the Call of Duty games back in the day. Creator of single-player games Titanfall, Jedi Fallen Order, replied with a hands-on face emoji, while the design director of Jedi Survivor simply posted a wink. BioWare Patrick Weeks added, thinking about working until midnight for a better part of a year to help ship Mass Effect 2, end quote. Let me read this here. Informal Dragon Age series designer Sebastian Hanlon wrote in quote, "Remember, the community manager in the group waiting for our flight to board said, just to be more careful than usual about what you say while we're here. You represent the whole company, whether you like it or not, even if you think you're outside the show," end quote. That's kind of like my responses, like my manager brain.
Yeah.
So I guess as far as for this, it's funny. I feel like in general, this is just some guy who thought it was funny to rag on single player games. But I find it interesting that it really struck a chord with a lot of people. You know what I mean?
I do actually, because I thought this was blown up more than it should be. I just, when I saw the tweet from EA, I just thought it was hilarious. Like, because you do have those sections in the gamer communities. Well, everybody has that one friend that just plays single player games. It's like, bro, man, hop on the multiplayer, man. Play with your friends.
Yeah.
Come hang out, man. This is the only time. We all got families. We all got kids.
Kid Pass, crossplay.
Yeah. So it was just kind of funny because it's like, you know, if she's a 10 and she only plays single player games, you want to play some co-op. So I thought it was a funny tweet. But it is weird that it struck a chord in the gamer community with EA. I think everybody's just jumping on a bandwagon to bash EA for right or justified reasons. I don't think the tweet was that bad.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, I really don't. But I guess people are very passionate, you know, about it for whatever the reasons may be.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a lot of reasons.
I don't let's talk about what are the reasons. I get they have
How many people has EA fired because they didn't make that much money?
but that's not new news, right? Like, what's that?
That's what I'm saying. So if EA is the company that's fired hundreds of people. He's a 10, but he doesn't make EA games. And there's people responding that's like, you fired me. You shut down our entire studio.
Because they didn't make.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. I think this got a lot of crap because he's EA. Like, I couldn't look at it as a joke because EA has canceled so many projects, so many studios. It's like my internal reply is like, she's a 10, but she buys FIFA packs. It's like, how many times? It's like FIFA has been attempted to be sued so many times. As a company, EA is consistently voted top 10 worst companies in the country to work for like the past like 10, 15 years running. And you know, so for me, it's like how many games haven't existed? How many studios have been shut down under EA? How much crap has EA done? To me, it was kind of funny at first, but then it's like the more I thought about it, it's like the more I really thought about it, it's like, man, EA, fuck you.
But yeah, but are you projecting like other scenarios onto this one tweet? I know EA as a company has like a bad taste in your mouth, but like it's just a funny tweet, and clearly EA don't believe in single player games, so it lines up with their ideology and just try to make humor out of it. But like them firing a bunch of people don't have nothing to do with this tweet.
I think, well, to me, because I see this, and I see what Arthur's talking about too, even when it comes to like being an employee, where it's like, but I see it from like mainly like a consumer perspective, especially when it comes to like just like being damaged with like the state of like microtransactions and all this other stuff, and like even if they have made games that have been single player, obviously for the past like 10 years, multiplayer has been a focus because it makes more money. You know what I mean? Like that's that's a fact. So like when you have a community manager or you have an official EA tweet saying something like that, I can see that being triggering for a lot of gamers, where it's like some people just all they have time for is single player games. You know what I mean? And or some people prefer single player games because they had a bad multiplayer experience of being, of all this shit in their face of like microtransactions or whatnot, and they don't want to associate with it. So while I do think that I do agree that it was completely blown out of proportion. You know what I mean? Like this is just a regular tweet, but I think back to what Homeboy said, Sebastian, saying, hey, like this isn't on your account, this is on a corporation's account. You know what I mean? So it's like there's accountability there. When it comes to speaking to a community where not everyone may be on the same page. Some people maybe have really bad experiences with some of our multiplayer games, and then obviously Some people may just like say, maybe just assume something that isn't true. You know what I mean? Whether or not this is playful, it's kind of like you're responsible for what you say, not how you meant it.
I mean, I could see that side as well. I don't know. I guess, I mean, we clearly know the individuals that are offended by it, but I don't know. Like, if you're an employee, I can see how your company is like, hey, you know, they don't believe. I take this as you don't believe in the product that we're making, like Respawn in the next Star Wars game, which is clearly not true because you're clearly making the game, so they believe in it. Like, what else? You know, like the fact that your project's off the ground is they're putting money towards single player. Like, given the facts, I feel like it's just another opportunity to bash EA for their business practices, which are well deserved because they don't like that's a terrible company. But it's just like, I don't know, like, I'm not going to die on this hill for this tweet. Like, I think it's just people just ready to pounce on EA for anything. But
it got the attention it got because it's EA. Hey, you know what? Oh, you're right. I don't like playing single player games. Let me go play multiplayer. I heard Battlefield 2042 was gonna be really good. That's
a good one. I think I saw some memes about that, dude.
It's
That's
like,
great.
it's like my God, you're trying to. And again, it got so much. You're right. It did get blown out of proportion. I will say that, but it got blown out of proportion so much because it's EA. It's like, EA, you're shitting on single player games. I'm sorry. Have you played Battlefield 2042? Have you played a multiplayer game that was released in 2022 that didn't have a scoreboard? It's like, oh, I don't play single player games. Oh, that's why Battlefield 2042 didn't have a campaign. That's why it's such a good multiplayer. Like, what?
Right.
Like, what are you doing? It's and so it's like okay, what's like, honestly right now, what's a good multiplayer game by EA?
Apex Legends.
What's the
Wait, you don't think? Wait, hold on. Apex Legends? Are we not all in agreement?
No, I agree with that.
I don't know. I'm staying neutral on that because I really haven't played it too much because I don't do battle royales.
Yeah.
To me, they're just a quick deathmatch with cash grab.
the
That's
general-
just how I look at battle royales.
I mean, sure.
The
but
general consensus
is
that it's
Apex
a good game.
good?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
okay,
Respawn,
for me, the same people that tweet, there's the same people. That's like, what do you mean enjoy Madden? How many packs have you bought? Like, fuck you. Like how many, like, this is the same company that said that tweet that's getting sued by numerous countries all for over their gambling and FIFA packs. So it's like I agree that I was developing promotion because he was EA, but at the same time, but it sounds redundant, but like, that's why I was born up promotion because he was EA. It's like, you're right, EA, I shouldn't go play multiplayer games. Let me go play your Madden games, which has been taking out features for the past 20 years. Let me go play your FIFA game whose FIFA packs and gambling concepts are so bad you're being sued by countries. So it's like fine, let me not play your single player games. Let me go play your plethora. I'll say Apex is the exception. Their plethora of shit multiplayer games, like their brand new hit Battlefield 2042.
Yeah,
it's like you're.
I definitely
it's
missed
like,
the
oh,
mark
you're.
on that one.
It's like, oh, I mean, it's like.
yeah, we can all agree there.
Yeah.
I mean, not just not again. And that's the thing is like that's another point there. Battlefield 2042 was supposed to be the foundation for the next like 3 to 5 games in their series.
Yeah.
So if their focus, or even if their quote unquote joking focus isn't single player, it looks like shit isn't even multiplayer.
They came out with some news of them working on the next one, and I was like, I know these guys don't care about it.
No, it's like Battlefield 5 was a failure.
Yeah.
Battlefield 2042 was a failure. Fine, EA. I'll play a good game of yours when you fucking make one that isn't Apex. And I'd argue Apex is good because of Respawn, not because EA.
I mean, yeah, they made Star Wars as well.
It's still on EA. It's still there.
But I would say, like, again, right now in terms of like
they cultivated that talent.
EA is a publisher.
You know?
So
yeah,
I mean,
but in terms of like EA's like current like portfolio of current of like, let's say, quote unquote new games. Like,
You didn't like Knockout City?
Was it?
You didn't like Knockout City?
Knockout City is good.
Knockout City was fun, but I would argue I kind of only played it because it was on Game Pass.
I mean,
It was a success. Though.
it was, yeah.
Regardless.
I'm both. I can see why this can be laid as like too much attention, but again, for all the crap EA has done, for them to do this, fuck you. Like, how many? Like, you fired so
for
many
you,
companies.
this is just like the cherry on
Like,
top, the straw.
I mean, like,
got you.
seriously, like how much crap can EA do, and then be like, like, oh, try a joke about this. I mean, that's like, I can't.
It's a tone deaf response.
It's a
I get what
it's
you mean.
a horrible tone deaf
So
response.
is it tone? Okay, this is good. So nobody wants to hear anything from EA. Is that the consensus in the gamer community? Like, don't say anything, don't joke about anything until you make quality products.
Make
I think
quality product. Make quality products without shit microtransactions. Like how many times has EA been in the news recently for like all this crap? Like, again, this is from the company we've heard from multiple games. We've learned our lesson. We'll do better. We've heard that for two Battlefields, and that was coming off of the stock market news that was Battlefront 2. So it's like, you want to name a company that will actively never learn to just keep doing the same things? It's EA. So for all the companies that tweet this, EA was not the best one to fucking tweet this.
I think
They try to be Wendy's out.
Yeah, I think if a developer tweeted this of a specific like that, I think if a developer tweeted this, I feel like it wouldn't get as much backlash, especially if it was a developer that like a part of like a really good single player game or single player series. It would probably be seen more of a joke where it's like, haha, like obviously you're joking because that's all you make. But I think the fact that a community manager of a conglomerate company
That's being sued
says that, then it can be contextualized in a different manner. So, but yeah, I see.
They're at 10, but they're getting sued by 4 countries. I get like for me, tone deaf isn't like I mean like again, like this is horribly a tone deaf response. Again, if Battlefield 2042 was good,
Yeah.
maybe this wouldn't have been such of a joke or like, what the fuck are you talking about? But like to come off their own failure of like one of the most successful and known multiplayer franchises, and for them to fuck it up 2 games running now,
Yeah.
they can't to me they can't even defend their own tweet. It's like, oh, you're right, multiplayer games are bad. Let me go play Battlefield 2042.
Yeah. So I think the last thing on the show here today, just to dig deeper into this Band-Aid ripping
It's
off.
been a not great Band-Aid.
I know. Fuck this Band-Aid, man. So I want to talk about this Blizzard response, just because I think it's interesting that the guy even defended microtransactions to begin with, especially for this game. But I mean, he might have a point. So I wanted us to talk about it and see if we have a back and forth on it. So just to read the title, just so there's some context, full context, according to VGC, says Blizzard's boss has defended Diablo Immortal's microtransactions. So it says here the studios also claim that the vast majority of players aren't spending any money. Let's see. So it says here Blizzard president Mike Ybarra, who's a part of Call of Duty, so he moved over to Blizzard, has defended Diablo Immortal's heavily criticized use of microtransactions. It says in the LA Times review, Ybarra said that the inclusion of microtransactions allowed the studio to offer a free Diablo experience to many millions of players. Decision quote, since we think about monetization at a very high level, how do we give a free Diablo experience to hundreds of millions of people where they can literally do 99.5% of everything in the game, he said. Continuing on, it says that, in quote, the monetization comes in at the end of the game, Ybarra added. The philosophy was always to lead with a great gameplay and to make sure that hundreds of millions of people can go through the whole campaign without any costs. From that standpoint, I really feel good about it as an introduction to Diablo. The free-to-play MMO was released on June 2nd for iOS, Android, and open beta on PC, but quickly a few drew negative perception for its heavily focus on microtransactions. So this included a report publishing of the game where they opened a wiki calculated that it would cost players up to over 100,000 to fully upgrade a character. Last month, the game Metacritic user score dropped to 0.2. User scores are... People always fuck user scores.
Review bombs.
Yeah. It says it should be noted that Metacritic scores usually do not require people. We already know that. Blah, blah. So, are you still playing it?
Oh yeah, I still got it on my phone today.
Do you still get? I remember I asked you 2 episodes ago. Do you get notifications like, "Hey, you're not playing it"?
No, I get no notifications.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so
that's good.
if you go in the settings, you can turn off notifications in the game, and of course with my phone I can go into the app and just manually turn off notifications as well.
But did you turn them off playing it, or did you just not Like
I never
not
got
trying-
a notification.
Oh, okay,
I
good.
didn't have to
Okay.
do anything. But after our episode, I went to go check. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, it's kind of strange. I didn't get no notifications. And it was already off in the settings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
I didn't. So nobody said, "Hey, here's a deal today.
That's good.
Claim your 1,500 gym points or whatever."
Last day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last day for a special.
Right. My opinion on Diablo Immortal is kind of antithetical to like the narrative that's going around with like gamer journalisms as today. I just think when people are reviewing the game, I don't have the same experience they have. Now, it is an atrocious, like it's terrible that anything should cost $100,000 to max out your character. Without a doubt, thousands of dollars is bad. I'm not defending that point, but when they're saying like, hey, you reach level 30, the game becomes a grind. It's then you incentivize to spend money. I am level 45 in that game, and the grind to me is non-existence. I do not understand how people are having trouble to go through the game. The biggest problem I currently have with the game right now is, I mean, I'm a working man, so I can't play every day like everybody out there. I know, right? So when I go back to the game, I find it hard to find players to run a dungeon to continue the story. So I could solo the dungeon, but I like to go in with a full party of 4 people, and it's just a better experience. So I'm like, dang, I really can't find the people. I'm waiting like 10 minutes on my phone, So I'm like, it's a phone game, I got a limited battery.
Right.
Like, hurry up, man.
Yeah, it's like, they got to juice up.
I'm trying to run. I just have not come across that problems. I think when I went to the first dungeon, I noticed the battle pass and the way you get battle points, which goes to your battle pass, and you earn it through activities, doing like dungeons or in-world events. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me do the battle pass. Let me grind this dungeon like 4 or 5 times. Nothing too crazy. I can finish a dungeon like 8 minutes, just grind it out. That's it. I did that one time at the very beginning of the game, and I've been over-leveled at every area of the game I go to since then. So I can get to the end of this game without spending a dime. That is true. I don't feel it's overwhelming than any other progression system. Halo Infinite's progression system is more grinding than Diablo Immortal's. Apex Legends, Fortnite's Battle Pass is more grindy in terms of to get to the to play the game.
Progress or levels.
Yeah, progress. Now, to do the Battle Pass is a little bit of a grind. Nothing too ridiculous. I think it's still a little bit less than the games I just mentioned, but to complete the story, you can go through the whole game. I haven't experienced where I felt like I need a paywall. My only caveat, this is my first Diablo game.
Okay.
So it's so I don't know what exactly I'm supposed to do. Like, hey, I don't know how to min-max my character, nor am I trying right now where I'm realizing that I need these legendary gems at this point to do that. But me just being new to the franchise, knowing action RPGs, I can get to the end without any problem. But I think the microtransactions are terrible from what I've read online. I know where they want me to spend my money on these things called rifts, which I have yet to do in the
Wait,
game.
rifts cost money?
No, they're free, but it's an activity loot box. So imagine it's like, oh, you buy legendary gems and you go to this activity, you insert these legendary gems into this rifts, and you just play this quick level. It's like it's terrible, right?
No, I know what rifts are, but rifts are like a thing of the game.
Okay, so that's a staple in the series.
Yeah.
Okay, new to me, right? So I know it was crazy. So you go in there and you get a bunch of loot, and the more gems you have slotted, the chances of the loot is more. It comes out. You
Higher
get more
level.
legendary items.
Oh, okay.
But the last thing I would say, I like Diablo Immortal. It's the reason I'm going to play Diablo 4.
Okay.
So I think it's got me. I'm going to play Diablo 4 when it comes out. I'm like, yo, I would like to see a full version of this game.
And you're level 44 too, so it's not like you just played this game. Like you put some serious hours into it.
Yeah, I put some hours. Like the level cap is 60 in this game, so like I'm almost there. And the only reason I haven't progressed now is because I can't find people to play.
Yeah.
So like
That sucks.
Yeah, I know, but I got like. I don't know, I'll figure it out. So
What's your take? Are there any thoughts?
Well, I'll just say one thing. If you ever want to try Diablo 3, let me know. you want to try like a Diablo, let me know.
So the thing is, I downloaded Diablo 3 on Xbox. So they had I thought it was free, like under Gold, but I guess it was just a trial. So I'm down, man. I got to get my Necromancer going
There you
because
go.
And that's why I play Necromancer. I told him I'm always a summoning. I always tell him I'm always a summoning guy. Mechanic wise question, because I haven't had hands on it. I don't think I ever will. How many? Not your basic, because Diablo, there's always like in Diablo, at least something they introduced in Diablo 3 was you have like a basic attack which kind of just builds mana, but that's like your basic thing. How many actual abilities can you have active or can you use at once?
Excluding your basic attack, 4 abilities.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
4 hotkeys, and you can just move around. And you can combo those hotkeys, together, to make like a fire tornado. I'm new to the series. I don't know. It's like, of course, Josh, you can make a fucking fire tornado.
No.
I don't know, man.
I was gonna say if you're gonna say 2, like you don't have 2 abilities at once.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I need to play Diablo. But 4 is a good number.
I've been trying to get into mobile games. I tried Mario Run. I even have Apple Arcade. This is the best mobile game I've ever played.
Nice.
Like in terms of quality, it's fluidity throughout the system. Like it's the reason why it's like the only mobile game still on my phone. And I keep trying games and keep deleting them. I don't play anything else. I think it's really well made, but fuck the microtransactions, man. It's crazy.
I'll just say real quick to an interview, I see through all of his bullshit. He's like, well, we made this. The majority of people are free to play. This isn't made for the few microtransactions. It's like exactly. This company is not making its millions, near billions, off of everyone paying $5. No, it's making money off of like that one person spending $100,000. So for them to say statistically, which is correct, I'll give them it is correct. The majority of players aren't buying microtransactions. Well, like yeah, no shit. That's kind of like that's arguably every mobile game. And to that point, when they say how we didn't make this for the purpose of microtransactions, I call bullshit. Every mobile game is made for the purpose of mobile transactions. Like to me, there's no example of someone saying, I want to make a really good game. I want to make a really good game of the year contender, really good story. We're making a mobile. No one's doing that.
Yeah, I think, because, well, there's 2 things. The one thing is that I think it's few and far between of people actually paying $100,000 for X thing. I think it's more of a, people paying 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, 500, for some people that got it like that.
They're looking for their whale. They're looking for their whales.
But like it's incremental as far as for how much they're making money. They're still making it. I think where he failed at this interview is that he just didn't say it like it is. You know what I mean? As far as like, yeah, there's microtransactions in the game. As far as for like, here are the facts. You can play most of the game by not paying anything. If you want to buy something, you can. You have the freedom to do so. But the fact that there's microtransactions in the game shouldn't be a stamp of no, don't do it. You know what I mean? So I think he tried to position it. I feel like he positioned it in a way where it was like I don't get it. Like people can just play the game for free. Like ignoring how much money the game has made.
Yeah.
So like I would just acknowledge like, yo, like you don't have to spend anything. You know what I mean? Like we made like first of all we focused on making a game that people would want to play, a game that works very well, a game where you don't have to buy microtransactions if you don't have to, a game that doesn't specifically notify you as much. You can even talk shit on some companies that do that. You know what I mean? And just be straightforward. That's why I've always appreciated people like Phil Spencer, where I feel like, and I could be wrong, but just from our experience out there with Phil Spencer, he's always been straightforward on what to expect, what not to expect, because he has the gamer mindset. And I feel like a lot of these people, they don't, which is probably why, he's getting a little bit of heat because I feel like he's not acknowledging how much money the game has actually made. But yeah, so I think I'm glad that you're not getting, this craziness. It makes me want to try it kind of. Obviously, I will not be buying my transactions. I'd rather buy, cereal.
Yeah.
and gas, but
And my thing is too. Again, my thing is too is like, again, like you said, it's like, oh, statistically speaking, only a few people are spending money. I'm like, yeah, they're called whales. Anyone that really knows the mobile game business, that's the goal. The goal is not 50 people spending $5. The goal is like 2 people spending $100,000. That's the goal. And then also too is like again like I remember Blizzard. Blizzard pre Tencent. That's because like I said on paper, I just want to Google it to make sure. On paper, Tencent owns 5% of Activision Blizzard. Now I don't know how much of this is going to change come 2023 when Microsoft fully takes over. I hope it does change. But even though on paper Tencent's only owned 5%, again remember a lot of this stuff has come from Tencent's pushing. Like one reason why the main reason why this is a mobile game, Tencent and China. Like the microtransactions in the Chinese mobile market are huge. Now we're seeing effect on that recently because China's cracking down on gaming. But the whole reason, but again, like the true goal of PUBG Mobile, Tencent owns that. The true goal of Call of Duty Mobile, Tencent owns a portion of that. The true goal of Diablo Immortal, Tencent was a backing behind that. Was the microtransaction market, not mainly of the West. The microtransaction mainly, like I said, mainly the East and China, because digitally flexing there is just super common. It's different than the market. The market there is different than here in the West.
Yeah.
So for my thing is like I don't really do mobile games. I don't know. I can't even I can barely. You've seen my text; they're littered with fucking typos. So if I can't text, if I can't text, I'll doubt I have good control of a mobile game. Actually, that's a lie. I tried Minecraft on mobile once. I died in 20 minutes. Never went back to it.
Yeah, that wasn't a good experience for me either.
But
I was like, nope.
That's my thing. Is like I know, like as a game, just as a quality game, I'm hearing good things. That's just my thing. Is like to me, this isn't like Blizzard. This is Tencent. This is Tencent with their Blizzard mask on.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would argue if Tencent never got involved with Blizzard, Diablo Immortal would have been what Blizzard's always been, a PC launch.
Maybe I don't know.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I feel like we all know Tencent's shitty, you know what I mean? But I feel like there's a lot of companies just like Tencent that are probably doing the same thing with the same agenda.
But Tencent's by far the biggest one.
It's a huge I mean they own like Spotify streaming. They have stake in like streaming services. But but I think my point is that this is a thing. You know what I mean? This is a thing, and then obviously when it comes to their market of like, our goal is to get whales, but these whales choose to be whales. They don't have to be.
They're rooting for us.
They don't have to be whales. So like someone who's spending that much money, they shouldn't be like, oh, I didn't get X, Y, Z. Like you chose to spend that money and you didn't have to. So like part of me is just like, oops, like be responsible. But I get what you're saying. I think when it comes to the excessiveness and kind of those dark demons of microtransactions, I'm obviously against. But I think when it comes to just the core argument, I mean, he has a point. You know what I mean? As far as like, you can still play the game, you can still play most of the game without buying anything.
True.
So, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I just wanted to respond whether also bringing up a good point whether or not Activision Blizzard would have continued the mobile route with Diablo. I think Blizzard. And I'm gonna say Bethesda too. I mean, they're going to explore mobile route it's too much money in the market for them to ignore, right? And there's such a huge studio, right? One of the biggest. They have so many employees. They need the revenue stream to pay everybody. So they're going. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an Overwatch mobile game after Apex Legends mobile game comes out. It's going to happen. I think they're going. A WoW mobile game too. If I'm not into WoW, so maybe it already exists. No offense to WoW players, I just haven't played the game. They're going to expand in this market with or without Tencent. It's too much money. Now the idea is like, can you do it tastefully, which is not the demons which you mentioned. My bigger problem with mobile games is the accessibility to children, and just like it's teaching the next generation of gamers that games constantly are asking money from you.
This is normal.
And it does,
wrong.
And it's wrong, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
And that's my biggest issue because it's not free to play when it comes to Diablo. Like it is free to play, but to get to the highest level, it's going to cost money. And this game has every tactic that from microtransactions. It's in the game. You can avoid it, but for somebody that doesn't know, you're going to drop the money in it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just it's unfortunate. Um,
Yeah.
Damn, I had another point, man. I just went blank. I mean, I don't have anything. I had something.
And I was gonna say too, the kind of
What's up?
kind of to connect the dots here, how of like microtransactions, but also bringing loot boxes. I was gonna say, to shine a light on Blizzard Activision and how they're continuing their practices. It's argued that one of the main reasons why Overwatch 2 doesn't have loot boxes is because they're too being sued by multiple countries, like Netherlands, Poland, Belgium, and Australia were the last countries I heard, and they're I don't know how they're going to address microtransactions in games, but the way that those countries are addressing loot boxes is, say, if you have literal by definition gambling in your game, either A, that's going to affect the MSRB rating, or B, that needs to be officially mentioned in the MSRB description. Now, those are of course taking time, because depending how those lawsuits go, those are definitely like precedent industry changing things.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, so I think just on paper, just real quick, mentioning how like I think that's one of the reasons why Overwatch 2, good way. Hey, I'll give thumbs up where good decision was made, how they're banning loot boxes for Overwatch 2. But I, like you said, how the kids thing, like that's one of the reasons why like Square Enix Chocobo thing was dialed back, because that game is advertised from the ground up as like a kids thing, and Sonic Run had this problem too, of how much microtransactions are literally arguably developed for the ground up for kids. It's like you look at some games of microtransactions, like that's a microtransaction. But you see like this hard cartoon, like, hey guys, we're gonna spin the wheel. I'm like, whoa, that's not advertised for me.
Yeah.
That's advertised for little Timmy with the
Well,
phone.
Timmy, ask your
with
mom.
yeah, that's advertised for kids.
Get him money.
That's advertised. That's clearly a type of microtransaction advertised for kids. So now I can't speak on hand to how much, like Immortal implements that, but again, like I said, to the standard video of like, oh hey, only hey, statistically people, only a few people are doing it. It's like, yeah, we know they're called whales. Don't hide behind it. We know what you're talking about.
So I got a question. Is it tangential? Is that the word? A topic?
We use words that are questionable words all the time. Boo.
Is that not
talk about the company or tangent or
like a tangent?
on a tangent?
Like tangent, like a topic that's tangential to what? I mean, I don't know. I'm making up a word. I see.
My brain would go, this is...
We're making up words here. Fuck it.
I guess so.
This is a tangentible tangent.
Well,
go on.
So how do you guys feel about streamers that like promote like these type of games on the platforms, right? Like, because most of them are like kids are just watching it a little bit. It's just I don't know. Like I don't. It's questionable because the kids are the audience. Were they just spinning the wheel over and over again? Trying to sell this game.
Deep, darker criminal link, if you will.
Yeah, have warnings, like I said,
and restrictions.
Exactly. If like now again, you could say, well, a 13-year-old will ignore that, whatever. But I'm saying that's at least putting a focus or a spotlight on it, and or making parents aware. And to your point with streamers, one, if it's a sponsored thing, if it's a sponsored stream or a sponsored segment, be upfront about it. And then two, for the kids thing, if not changing the MSRB rating, because let's be honest, I don't think that's going to happen. Have a warning, or again, have an ESRB noticed gambling aspects or gambling microtransactions in the game. Because you get a ton of parents with these, especially with mobile games. Because let's be honest, a lot of children are more statistically on playing a mobile device versus like a potential console or like a new PC rig. Have warning, hey, microtransactions are in this game, to at least make the potential parent and or person whose bank account's going to be hit aware of that.
Right, exactly.
Aware of that.
I think the biggest thing too is that they don't want this ESRB to hit, because I think by law, if it's gambling, you have to be a certain age.
You do.
And that's going to fuck up their whole model on a lot of these games.
And like I said, I don't like the reasoning behind it. But hey, for Blizzard to just kind of jump ship and go, whoa, okay, because Blizzard is literally the case example for this ERCB change that these countries are saying.
Yeah.
Like countries are saying this is gambling. Look at this game, and Overwatch is the example for all these lawsuits. So I think I don't like the reasoning behind it. I do like the new decision for Watch 2 to like, whoa, okay, no more fucking loot boxes.
Battle pass.
Don't which is
Yeah.
I would argue is fair because like in like a Jerrell, we discussed. I know I super hate it. I still do, but I do have to be realistic and say, hey, this is the future of microtransactions in some way. Unfortunately, is the future of gaming. It started with DLC, and then it became season passes, and then here we are now. So like I agree. So if to be realist, if microtransactions and or mobile gaming is the thing of the future, it's no longer a question of should it be done, because unfortunately we're beyond that now. We just are.
Yeah.
It's so now the real hard question you ask is how it's implemented and who it's targeted, and again, if minors or if a game that's advertised for kids, arguably could say Diablo Immortal is or is not, but if a game like let's say Sonic Run that's advertised definitely for kids, how if microtransactions are present, how are they being implemented and or advertised?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, well said. Well said. I think that definitely a good way to wrap it up here, and a good way to wrap up this intense episode of the Gamers for Life podcast. I think we covered a lot of nice ground here. Any other lasting things that came out that I didn't add to the docket?
I briefly want to touch on like the whole Sucker Punch and Sly Cooper not coming out. We were talking about the last time I think it was on the pod about Sony not having a mascot and locking down Kojima.
And we literally mentioned Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper, another opportunity for another mascot that they decide like nope, it's just on the shelf. So I just wanted to bring light to that.
Sure. Yeah, floor is yours.
I like how I think it was like I think you mentioned Sly Cooper and then you literally mentioned an Infamous, and then Sony's like, okay, well here are the fans. No more Sly Cooper and no more Infamous. Goddamn.
Right. Exactly.
It's like I feel like Sony. I feel like Sony is doing the word map of like, wow, a lot of people are talking about Sly Cooper and Infamous. Okay, let's address this. We're not making it. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
Stop asking. Like, it's like I know and I'm glad the Final Fantasy VII remake is here and is a success. But again, it is absolutely worth mentioning. One of the reasons it took so long is they were very upfront of like, we don't want to fucking make this. Please stop fucking asking. Like, there's they were very upfront about that. And I just still let's just put this in another box of Sony unfortunately being transparent with their customers. Here's our opinions of Sly Cooper and Infamous. They're dead. Move on.
Yeah. Did you have any additional?
Oh yeah. I just want to say, please bring back Advent Rising. I need the sequel to that game. I don't know if you guys ever played that game. Did you guys ever play Advent? It was for Xbox. It was like exclusive on it.
I did. Really? I did my feet, and I feel bad because now that you mentioned it, just in the makers of Advent Rising, go fuck yourself.
Nah, right. Man, it was such a good game by Orson Scott Card, one of my favorite writers. But yeah, it is what it is. So
yeah. I was sad. To hear that because I mean. They're working on some other stuff. Obviously, Ghost of Tsushima, I believe that was Sucker Punch, did a great job, and I think they're working on a sequel for that. But I just feel like those games are important, at least for Sly. I feel like Infamous. I don't know if I think there was a small base that really enjoyed that game, but would consoles fly off the shelves for people buying it? I don't know. They would have to really work on the game. But for Sly Cooper, I feel like people would buy that one. I feel like that one, if they did it right, because like I didn't think I would like Rayman as much as I did, but when they came with Rayman Origins and then like the other Rayman games, I'm like, these are amazing.
Yeah,
when they had the levels match us, when they had their demo of Ram Jam Black Betty, fucking killed it.
They damn near were like competing with like some high quality like Mario games. Like I was like, this is really fucking impressive. So like, I think if they did it right, I think they would get some pretty legitimate sales. But I just hate these little classics that are being ignored. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just wish there was some type of dedicated team. Studio Japan, that would dedicate to make these titles. Cause I just not everything can be a blockbuster, but for those games that are just like for those fan bases, depending on whatever budget or goal they have to hit, I feel like they would hit it. You know, so I don't know. That's my thing.
I'll say I know that doesn't tick all the boxes of Advent Rising, but remember, new Perfect Dark game coming out.
Yeah. Not for a long time. Man.
No, yeah, but I was still because that was definitely the game during that E3 presentation. I'm like, fuck, what game is this? What game is this? And it's I think it was a perfect timing of that because I can't. If not a lot of people, I can say I at least personally got back into the game because of the rare replay bundle. I mean, 50 like Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark Zero. You know that the Viva Pinata game. You know Viva Pinata games. Of course, Rare makes Sea of Thieves shirts, so that's why there's a bunch of stuff from their other Rare titles in Sea of Thieves. I have the Conker's Bad Fur Day ship. I almost drunkenly bought the Viva Pinata ship. So for me, like, let's say, for example, me and Victor, we beat both those games via Rare Replay Cooperative. So when they showed that, I was like, oh, what game is this? Like, oh shit, Perfect Dark, what the fuck? But yeah, unfortunately, that game will be quite some time away. But it is going to exist. It is coming. So I just think that's. When I heard this, short version, when I heard the infamous and Sly Cooper not on its way, I heard like, man. Thanks, Xbox. I can't wait for Perfect Dark.
Yes, sir. Well, that's going to wrap up the Game of July podcast here again every Saturday, Friday / discussing all things games. I'm one of your hosts, Jerrell. First and foremost, Church, thanks for being here once again, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Always a great time with you guys.
Awesome. I'm one of your hosts, Jerrell. With me is my co-host, Arthur Thomas.
That's me.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.